to Mainland Television, Nelson's regional station. I'm Graham O'Brien, and in today's news, a busy weekend on the menu for Nelson Police, rescues a daily issue, NMIT offers new aqua opportunities, What's Up Doc, Caver comes to town and talks about latest discovery, cyclists rule on the roads. According to local man, Iran is not as we can imagine. It seems that Nelson's festivities this weekend are set to draw crowds of all varieties, with the Arts Festival taking off with the biggest crowd drawing event of the year. The Nelson Mask Parade and Carnival, along with the Marcos playing their semi-final in Nelson against Canterbury on Saturday at 7:05 p.m, and add to that a bikie national run or Hells Angels holiday of sorts, then we can expect a bigger than normal police numbers around the city. Police officers are coming in from Canterbury, Marlborough and Wellington to ensure that weekend events remain trouble-free. The increased police presence was also to manage crowds at the family-friendly events in the city, including the Mask Parade and the rugby. Nelson Bay's Commander Inspector Steve Greeley said that Nelson's going to have a great weekend and the police will be there to make sure it happens. Things just seem to be getting busier for our Nelson Marlborough Rescue Helicopter here in Nelson, with recent call-outs taking them off in every direction. We went to speak with the rescue on-board paramedic Ernie about the call-outs, spending a night out on the mission and their fundraising efforts of late.
Hi there, I'm here today to talk about the Nelson Marlborough Rescue Helicopter with Ernie. So Ernie, at the moment it's been quite a busy time. What kind of averages are you getting for call-outs a month at the moment?
This year's had a marked increase in our call-outs. We're averaging 40 missions a month for the total of the year. Last year we did around 360 missions total. This year we've already gone through that and it's only October. So yeah, averaging 40 a month.
Wow, that's insane. So recently there was a crew member had to stay overnight with an injured man. What's like the procedure for instances like this? Like, is there a backup paramedic on call in case one has to stay out?
Sure. So what happens in a situation like that, that's not really commonplace. That was due to weather that we left him where we did, safely in a hut. So when we come back, we're then at the mercy of St John being able to provide us with another paramedic so that we can still continue and then go back the next day and pick that person up. Because we're a small group with only a couple of pilots and a couple of crewmen and the St John guys, that workload that we're talking about, plus missions like this where we're leaving people, start stretching us because we don't have the funding and resources to have 3 or 4 other people ready to step in at a moment if we're tired or can't do something. So it's a bit of a vicious circle. You need more people, you can't get more people because you haven't got the money. If you drop somebody out of that loop, such as we did with the guy staying in the hut, then it puts a strain on everybody else.
Okay, well hopefully you can find some more people soon. But so you just said your Trade Me auction just finished last night, I believe. How did that all go in the end?
It was good. The Trade Me auction was part of the Plains Fire and Rescue, and we had a premiere in State Cinema with the kids, most of who dressed up in an appropriate sort of thing. And the State Cinemas gave us some of the promotional items, mobiles and posters and bits and pieces, which we put on Trade Me so that if people wanted to be able to access or get those, they could bid. And they both sold, and yeah, we'll look forward to doing something similar again.
Oh, awesome. So talking about something similar, have you got stuff coming up soon that people could maybe get involved with?
The main one we've got coming up in very recent times will be the AMP show at Marlborough. Which we went to last year as well, so we'll be there. We'll have the aircraft there for close-up viewing and be able to meet us. You know, that's always the highlight. We'll also probably look at running auctions again on Trade Me, and there's a couple of other things we've sort of got in the pipeline that if we can make them work, we can get people involved through either Facebook or our website to sort of be a bit more of a part of what we're going on. So yeah, there's always things on the way. Yeah.
Oh, awesome. Well, so hopefully we can get you some more likes on Facebook so people can get involved.
Yeah. Well, we use Facebook to be able to let anybody see sort of what we're doing within reason, the amount of work that we're doing, the type of jobs we're doing, and getting a bit of access to what we're about rather than just hearing about us in the paper or what have you.
Oh, awesome. Well, thank you for your time, and hopefully this will help you get a bit more promotion and maybe find a few more crew members.
Thank you.
Awesome.
Nelson Marlborough Institute of Technology has announced this week that it is running a new aquaculture degree and postgraduate qualifications, which will help cement the Top of the South reputation as a centre for aquaculture training and research in New Zealand, according to NMIT Chief Executive Tony Gray. NMIT has recently launched 2 new qualifications in aquaculture and now provides a full suite of aquaculture training to support the New Zealand aquaculture industry, from secondary school pathways through to postgraduate level. In addition to its successful diploma in aquaculture in 2015, NMIT will offer 2 new higher level aquaculture qualifications, a vocationally focused Bachelor of Aquaculture and Marine Conservation, and a postgraduate diploma in sustainable aquaculture. Both are unique in New Zealand. The Institute has also developed a Trades Academy course in maritime and aquaculture, where students from local secondary schools study at NMIT 1 day a week while still at school. Another initiative is the Salmon in Schools project, where NMIT aquaculture students mentor secondary school classes to hatch and raise salmon. Tony Gray said that industry consultation has been a big part in developing the new programs through industry surveys, independent research and the input of NMIT's advisory committee, with one of the key recommendations from industry being that the programs needed to be available part-time and online for those already in employment, which NMIT have listened to. The new programs are expected to attract students from around New Zealand and overseas. This Saturday, the NMIT will be hosting an open day for those looking to sign up for courses at NMIT for next year's intake. Changes are afoot in DOC with a major shift in how the Department of Conservation operates, which will see at least 8 jobs lost in Nelson and Marlborough, and that regional offices will no longer be used as one-stop shops for the public and community conservation groups. An estimated 72 DOC staff will lose their jobs nationally under these announced changes. DOC will reconfigure staff into 2 work streams, one focused on conservation and the other developing working relationships with the community and businesses to support conservation. DOC's National Public Relations team have released figures to indicate the changes will see the Central Nelson office gain 4 staff, Takaka will lose 3 staff and not the proposed 4.9, and Motueka staff numbers will drop to 23.3 full-time equivalents, down from the current 26. Motueka Area Manager Martin Rodd, who Mainland News has spoken with over various issues during the year, is one of those who will lose his job under the changes. Staff at the Nelson's Region main area offices will cover both conservation delivery and partnership work, with conservation staff managed from Hokitika and partnership staff from Nelson. Direction for the local conservation groups and partnership staff will come via a national planning team which will identify priority projects in consultation with local officers. Under these changes, DOC's community advocacy role was likely to be reduced. What do Stormy Pot, Nettlebed and Bulmer have in common? Tri-caver and outdoor pursuit specialist Kieran McKay. Chrissy Small spoke with Kieran in our studio this week about the brand new discovery of a super cave system by 2 of his caving team members this month.
I'm here with Kieran Mackay. Now, Kieran is a caver. He's used to small spaces, so he's moved down to Nelson. Kieran, why did you make the move to this region?
Well, I kind of love the region. Well, the reason I love the region is there's lots of caving around here, and I come here just about every summer to go caving. So my wife and I decided, well, why don't we just move down there and live down there?
Yeah.
Yeah, so we made the move about nearly a month ago, and we're living in Golden Bay.
Oh, it's a great place to be over there, isn't it?
Amazing. Yes.
Do you think it's like going over to a different world when you go over that hill?
Yeah, I feel like that. Yep, you discover this hill and suddenly things are just, they're really different, a lot more relaxed and a lot more chilled out. Yeah, it's really nice.
Yeah, it must be, because caving isn't what I'd call a relaxing and chilled out form of entertainment.
It's funny you should say that, because a lot of people don't think it is, but it really is quite relaxing. When you think about it, all we have to deal with is we have to eat, we have to look after ourselves, and we have to sleep and we go exploring. And that's all we've got to deal with. Above ground,
right.
Oh,
you've got the stress of the world.
Exactly, you've got the stress of the world above ground. It's horrible.
The only stress that I would find is those tight, squeezy places in caves, which you often have to deal with.
Yeah, a lot of people, that's the first thing people start talking about is, those horrible tight places. But a lot of places we explore are actually really big. we don't want to go through horrible tight things all the time. We want to find big stuff. So I reckon about 90% of the stuff we find is huge. And occasionally you've got to go through some incredibly tight spots. Well, just got to deal with that at the time. And yes, some of them are very hard.
Right. Okay. So you've just discovered earlier in the year the biggest cave system, second biggest cave system in the world, here.
It's not quite it's the second deepest kind of through cave in the southern hemisphere. It's about the fifth deepest through trip in the world, and that was found on Mount Arthur. And I made the connection between two big systems in January this year.
Right.
Yeah, and that's been worked on. The nettlebed system is the bottom of the cave, and we've got the stormy pot system, which is the top end of the cave.
Right, and so the whole thing is all linked up. Now you've just found. Well, colleagues of yours have just discovered another system. Can you tell me a bit about that?
Yeah, in Mount Owen we've got a really big cave system that many people have been exploring for the last 25 years. And it's on the southern side of Mount Owen. It's called the Bulmer system. It's now 72 kilometres long.
Wow.
Now most of the water in Bulmer actually flows out to the south towards Murchison. There's one stream in the way at the back of Bulmer that actually flows towards the north, and we've always wondered whether it would actually cross the drainage divide, and we didn't know where that water went. So 2 or 3 years ago, a friend of mine put some special dye in that water, and then he spent 10 days looking for it, and he found out that the dye actually came out in the Blue Creek Spring on the northern side of the mountain, about 8 kilometres away from where he actually put the dye in. Now it was a really, really faint trace, and not many people were quite happy with the trace, so we just decided to go back and do it again. And a friend of mine from Wellington, Marcus Thomas, he organised a trip and a whole bunch of new dye, and we went in 2 weeks ago, put the dye in the stream, and a day and a half later it turned up in Blue Creek. And so it was very positive. Right,
and that's a long time, a day and a half for that to travel in water, which, is what's the flow of this stream like, or is it a river, or what is it?
Well, to travel 8 kilometres and take a day and a half, it's actually very quick, really, really quick. Well, to us it's really exciting because it means that it's got to be an open streamway.
Right.
Yeah, from where we put the dye into where it comes out.
Okay.
And that's really exciting because we know it's something we can go and explore. And probably most of us better get into and explore. Yeah.
As long as you're not big and and have a fear of small places.
Yeah, that's right, yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
So, Kieran, so what's the next step? Now that you're all getting excited, I guess, there'll have to be, you're going to attack it, aren't you? You're going to go and find...
Yeah, so the next step now is to, we're getting together a team to go into the cave to carry a set of diving gear into the cave, because right at the end where we put the dye in, the water goes, basically the whole cave goes underwater, and we have to dive. So we thought we'll get one diver in there, they're going to help me carry my gear in, I'll do the dive, and then find out what's on the other side.
Right.
And if the cave opens up and just away it goes, then we have to sit back and think what to do next, because suddenly it's getting really serious. We're getting a long way from the entrance, really, really isolated, and we have to think about, well, what do we do? Do we train up other people to get in there? Yeah, we just don't know.
Yeah.
We've got to figure it out when it happens, really.
Yeah, exactly. I guess it is. It's play it by ear when you're in there.
Yeah, and that's the neat thing about caving, is that you come across all these incredible obstacles, and you just have to create ways to get around them, get over them, get through them, whatever. And that's the really exciting part of caving. And if you have to learn new techniques, well, we go away and learn new techniques to pass the obstacle.
Yeah. Now, Kieran, what about people that would love to try this kind of thing out, that would, don't have a fear of dark, cold, wet spaces? How can they get involved in this kind of thing safely?
The best way to actually get involved is to join the local club.
Yeah. And
the Nelson's got a really active local club, and they've done a lot of amazing exploration in the area, and that way they'll get to go caving with some incredibly good people, really good cavers, and they can learn those techniques as they go caving with them. And they'll start off in some easier caves, but very quickly they'll start learning techniques to get them into the deeper and deeper caves. And if they're fit, they'll be going off doing some big exploration trips quite quickly.
What makes this area so wonderful for caving?
It's a mecca of caving in New Zealand, this area. And then the reason is that we've got the Mount Arthur Range up there, and the Mount Arthur Range is basically huge expanses of marble, and marble's a carbonate rock which the caves form in. And so we've got Tākega Hill, Mount Arthur, Mount Owen, and they're high, up to 1,800 metres high, and they're huge. And in those mountains, we've just got these enormous cave systems, which we're only just starting to scratch the surface.
Right, so this is an ideal place for anyone that wants to learn to cave. This is the perfect place to begin.
Oh, absolutely. It's a perfect place to begin because you've got Takaka Hill, which the caves aren't quite as deep. Yeah, some of them are long. They've got a 30-kilometre long system up there now. They're not quite as deep. Access is really easy. And you've got Mount Arthur, where the access is a little bit harder, and the caves are getting very, very deep. And then Mount Owen as well, which to get into the caves there is actually quite hard. But the caves are fantastic, really, really big, long caves.
Yeah, I quite like those caves which have lights and walkways and handrails. Very safe. But of course, those that are more adventurous, they can go a little bit further and go through crawl spaces and streams and lakes and all sorts. Some of the pictures that you've got of some of these amazing cave systems, I mean, they look like another world altogether. I mean, you must.
Well, it is. It is a completely new world, and that's what it's like. It's like stepping out of this one that we know really well into a completely different world, and in that world, you just don't know what's going to be around the next corner. I mean, that's what exploration's about, is not knowing what's around the next corner. We're laying the first footprints into a landscape that formed before mankind existed on this planet. And our light's the first light to ever light it up.
That's right.
It's an amazing feeling.
Do you find all kinds of weird, kind of creepy crawlies down there?
No, you don't actually.
Oh, that's good.
Well, if you do, they're tiny. They're absolutely tiny. They're millimetres across. Not something that. It's not like you see in the movies where these big monsters come along and eat you. No, it's nothing like that.
No taniwha.
No. They're all tiny wee creatures. Further away from the entrance you get, the less food supply there is, so everything gets really, really small. But there are some quite bizarre little creatures down there.
Okay. Oh, look, Kieran Mackay, it's a real pleasure to have you in studio today to talk about this. I'm sure we're going to talk some more about about it with you in the future.
I hope so.
Well, Mount Owen sounds like it's going to be the place to be later in the year, and we'll be listening out for the news of your great discoveries. And
that'd be great. That'd be really good.
Best of luck.
Thank you very much. Yeah, it's awesome.
With summer and cycles upon the region, the two abreast rule for cyclists is one that some motorists may see as more difficult to get around now that motorists need to give 1.5 metre clearance when overtaking. As we know, many of our roads are narrow at the best of times, and having to wait until the road is wide enough to obey that rule can mean that traffic can be held up, causing delays and intolerance. The rules are: always ride as near as you can to the left side of the road. If you are holding back traffic, you must move as far as possible to the left side of the road to allow traffic to pass as soon as you can. However, you do need to cycle in a sensible position on the road to keep safe. Two cyclists can ride next to each other, but should take into account the keep left rule and not hold back traffic. 3 or more people cycling next to each other is illegal, except in the case of a road race that has been given traffic management approval from the road controlling authority. So the message for motorists is patience is a virtue, and for cyclists, remain aware of traffic behind you and pull over to let the cars pass when you can. We asked some people about what they thought of the two abreast rule.
Do you feel the two abreast rule for cyclists should be scrapped, and why?
Yeah, I don't think you should drive two abreast, especially on the main roads. Yeah, certainly.
I don't think so. I think it's safe to leave a gap, a cycle gap and another gap. I cycle myself from time to time, so I'm always on the alert for cars that get too close. Sounds sensible to me that they leave sufficient gap.
Yes, and I think cyclists should keep to the left and not hold the traffic up, as a cyclist ourselves. Yeah.
Most cyclists tend to be quite considerate, and if you're driving alongside them, they tend to back one behind the other, although some don't, and that's really frustrating. So if I didn't actually know it was a law that they were allowed to do that. They should scrap that, I think.
How would you feel if the rule wasn't scrapped, that they introduced penalties for the cyclists if they started to impede traffic instead?
They're using the public highways, so the same rule applies. Yeah, definitely.
I guess it would really depend on the gravity of what they actually did. I mean, if they refused to move for traffic and caused an accident, then obviously that would be pretty bad. Otherwise, I guess we all share a road, and it's being lenient of, oh hey look, there's a car coming, I'll just ride behind you for a while, or oh hey look, there's a couple of cyclists and there's a whole lane free and there's no other traffic, so I'll give them space.
But motorists need to be aware of cyclists as well in saying that, but no, you can't hold the traffic up, just like a car gets penalised if it's too slow.
No, I don't, because I think that would cyclists really impede traffic that much? Only for a short time perhaps while they're going over and turning, but No, I don't think there should be penalties for that. I think everybody's entitled to be on the road one way or another, and we need to just be courteous and polite to one another.
We were lucky enough to have Nelson resident Forouzandeh come into our studio to tell us about his talk this week at the library, his new book, and what message he is trying to get across about his country of birth, Iran. Today we have Forouzandeh here, who gave a talk to a packed house in the library yesterday. He's promoting his award-winning books that you can get from Copypress, our locally owned and operated book publishers. Here's the book here, the latest book out. Forouz, what's the main message you're trying to get out to people with these talks that you're doing at the moment?
It is the understanding of Middle East, the complex situation in there, and Islam, because a lot of people misrepresent Islam. They really are not the true Muslims, because the Muslim religion is a peaceful religion, and the formation of ISIS and all of the things that they have done in there, because the powerful countries wanted to get the oil from the Middle East. Now these bank robbers, under the name of Islam, they are really trying to take the oil for them. It's all money, greed, and everything. A whole lot of people in those countries are being butchered and killed in thousands and hundreds, being homeless, and nobody is really doing anything. Unfortunately, the mainstream media never tells the exact truth or the whole truth, or they don't know, either because of lack of knowledge or because of covering for their politicians. They do not really tell everything that it is happening in there. But this book is a very, very unbiased, neutral, showing the other side of the coin so people can understand what has happened, how many people have suffered, how many people have died because some companies or some countries wanted to get oil from the Middle East.
Yeah, that's true. And I mean, from listening to your talk yesterday, I think we all learn a lot, and it's quite amazing to see how Iran is compared to the way that it is portrayed in the mass media.
Well, American negative publicity of Iran has always been Muslim terrorists. They are trying to build a bomb and destroy the world. Iranians are builders, not destroyers. Iran has not attempted or started a war with another country in the last 200 years. They defended their country against Saddam Hussein, which U.S. basically supported Saddam financially and militarily to attack Iran. They defended themselves, and they are very, very well prepared to defend again. But unfortunately, because their failure in Iraq, that they couldn't get the oil from Iraq, they did not have any idea. I mean, Saddam did not have weapons of mass destruction. Saddam did not have anything to do with 9/11. Saddam was not a danger to the world. As a matter of fact, Osama bin Laden called Saddam a sick Arab because he would not allow one Al-Qaeda member in the country. There was some life in there. The same thing happened in Libya. They just destroying life in there because they wanted to get their oil. Is Iraq a better country now than it has been with Saddam? Is Libya a better country? What is happening in Syria? I mean, God, they had a life. Syria was one of the most beautiful Islamic countries with freedom of religion. They are supporting, they paid money and ammunition to terrorists, to Al-Qaeda, that now they have turned to ISIS to destroy, to take care of Assad, president of Syria. Well, who is the one to say they have to move their president of another country? It really is unfair, and I just wanted people to realize everything in there is explained very, very well. The situation in Middle East, they go in there, take a land out of some people, give it to another people. They draw lines in there that it wasn't there before. And The terrorism comes from desperation, not from religion. Islam does not promote terrorism. Desperation does. And to me, and the way I write this book, because I'm a peace advocate, I love to see peace in the world. That's why I love New Zealand, because New Zealand are peaceful people. They are a kind of people that they say, live and let live, nuclear free, but every other big country wants to grab resources from other places, which at the end, it becomes a negative consequence at the end.
After the break, we'll bring you the latest weather update and some events and happenings coming up from around the region.